My name is Deanne.
Standing in the middle of the upscale restaurant, the spotlight on me, I watched as the man who once promised me a lifetime of love and the woman who always treated me with coldness stared back at me in shock and disbelief. The large screen behind me played recordings of their cruel words and showed evidence of their financial fraud. The room was filled with gasps and whispers, and I finally felt a sense of control that I'd lost for so long. It all started when I met Ethan. He was 32, from a wealthy family in New York. His father, Mr. Thompson, was a well-known businessman, and his mother, Mrs. Thompson, was a refined but extremely proud woman. Ethan seemed perfect at first. He was charming, successful, and always said the sweetest things to me. I was head over heels in love with him, and I thought I'd found my happily ever after. We planned our wedding meticulously. It was going to be held at a luxurious mansion in the Hamptons, a place we'd chosen after months of searching. The day of the wedding, everything seemed perfect. The mansion was decorated with beautiful flowers, and the soft music filled the air. Family and friends from all over the country had gathered to witness our special moment. I put on my wedding dress, feeling like a princess, and I was so excited for the new chapter of my life to begin. But Mrs. Thompson had never really accepted me. From the very first time we met, I could feel her coldness. I tried my best to please her, to show her that I was worthy of her son. I cooked for her, bought her gifts, but it seemed like nothing I did was good enough. During the wedding reception, as I was chatting with an old friend, Mrs. Thompson approached me. "Deanne, I need to talk to you," she said in a firm voice. I followed her to a quiet corner, thinking she might finally want to have a heart-to-heart. But instead, she started scolding me. "You've disgraced our family today. You've shown no respect to me throughout the ceremony," she said angrily. I was stunned. I had no idea what she was talking about. I tried to explain, but she wouldn't listen. Just then, Ethan appeared. Mrs. Thompson told him that I'd been disrespectful to her all evening. Ethan looked at me with doubt in his eyes. "Deanne, is this true?" he asked. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told him it was a misunderstanding, but he didn't believe me. In a fit of rage, he slapped me right in front of everyone. The silence in the room was deafening. I looked at him, hoping to see some remorse, but all I saw was cold anger. "You don't deserve to be my wife," he spat. That was the moment my world shattered. I left the reception without a second look, leaving behind my wedding dress, the guests, and the man I thought I loved. In the following days, I was in a daze. I couldn't eat or sleep, constantly replaying that terrible moment in my head. But then I realized that I couldn't just be a victim. I needed to expose the truth about Ethan and his mother. I reached out to Mr. Davis, a 45-year-old private investigator who is known for handling financial fraud and domestic abuse cases. I met him at a coffee shop, and after I told him my story, he said, "Deanne, are you ready to see this through?" I took a deep breath and said, "I don't have a choice." I started secretly recording my conversations with Ethan and Mrs.
Thompson.
I also found out that they were involved in some shady financial transactions. Mr. Davis discovered that they'd been moving large sums of money from Ethan's clients' accounts to their personal ones. I knew I had to do something to expose them. I called my best friend, Lily. She was as shocked as I was when I told her everything. We came up with a plan to host a big party and invite everyone who knew Ethan, including his family, friends, colleagues, and the media. 3 weeks later, the party took place at the upscale restaurant. Ethan and Mrs. Thompson arrived, completely unaware of what was about to happen. As I stepped onto the stage, I was nervous but also determined. I played the recordings and showed the financial evidence on the screen. The room was in an uproar. Ethan and Mrs. Thompson tried to defend themselves, but it was too late. The media quickly picked up the story, and the scandal spread like wildfire. Federal investigators stepped in, and it didn't take long for them to find solid evidence of their financial fraud. The trial was long and difficult, but in the end, justice was served. Ethan was found guilty of financial fraud and abusing the trust of his clients. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison and ordered to repay the stolen funds. Mrs. Thompson was fined a large amount of money and lost all her credibility in the business world. After the trial, I signed the divorce papers, officially ending my toxic marriage. I left the city that held so many painful memories and moved to a quiet suburb near Austin, Texas. My new home was small but cozy, surrounded by beautiful nature. Looking back, I've changed so much. I'm no longer the naive girl who is easily manipulated. I'm strong, independent, and free. I've also decided to use my experience to help other women who are trapped in toxic relationships. I'm now actively involved in a nonprofit organization that supports victims of domestic abuse and psychological manipulation. I share my story with them, telling them that they too can break free and build a new life.